La 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 la.
Inspired by women, niggas say that I treat them different. Niggas be bitches, hoes be bitches, I don't see no difference. Shawty, my aim is different. DC, my English iffy. Solo I be, but I'm on my feet. I got these angels with me. Tired of making money, I'm on to making history.
So the next thing here, though, tell us a little bit about your organization.
So we have Green Sports, that's DREEAM Sports, and what we are is a nonprofit youth sports organization. So we provide youth activities, especially for the people that can't afford to play sports outside of school.
That's right.
And we want to definitely give them an opportunity to be involved in something, feel like a group, a family, a committee. But we provide sports leagues, sports camps, sports teams, tournaments. And then on top of that, we think outside the box, and we want to reach out to people and do community service, community events. And then also we want to make sure in order to participate that the kids are making progress and are successful in school.
Okay.
And then also in the community as well. Because it's more to life, and we got to teach them about important life skills other than sports itself.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So tell us what we can do to help you out.
Support.
Okay.
It's nothing has to do with money all the time. And a lot of times people get that confused when I say support.
That's right.
It's not, oh yeah, give me some money so I can do this. No, it's about you guys showing up.
That's right.
And people don't realize how much power they have just by showing up.
That's right.
Because we get this big turnout, they should know the city's gonna have to get involved.
That's right.
Sending a message.
That's
so
absolutely right.
Supporting by sharing, even just the same thing with pockets. The more people that turn in and view it and share it and all that,
that's right.
Now all of a sudden these businesses are gonna be like, how can I get my hands
how
on that?
How can I help?
How can
that's
I get
right.
involved in that? And that's just, that's all support and love. Even if you're a friend or anything, you ain't gotta sit there. We want you to get the message, you sit there and watch and listen, but just by even sharing it. It takes 2 seconds to hit the share button.
That's right. It takes 2 seconds. Y'all hear that? It takes 2 seconds to hit the share button.
That's it. Like it, share it,
that's right.
That's it.
We ain't gonna say nothing wrong on your Facebook page. Nothing worse than what y'all have on there in the first place.
And that's another thing with the violence. Like we don't realize how much help we can be. It's just that the people itself, they tend to showcase or even record negative stuff that's going on, and
that's
then
right.
when you see it online, people also like it, share it, view it, and that's bringing attention to it.
That's absolutely right.
So,
if there was a big fight in Redmond Park today, there'd be 37 shares. The thing would already be viral. Everybody would have heard about it and all of that stuff. But the positive things that are going on, we can't get a like for that.
Right. We're not share anything like that. So
we can't get a like for that.
That's what says more than it's bigger than me itself. It takes everyone.
That's right.
Just like little stuff. I challenge people to not even share or even like the negative, violent stuff that's on the internet.
That's right.
I mean, try to avoid it. I mean, just take a month away from it. See how much it would die down.
That's real, man. Sometimes people do that stuff for that energy.
Yeah.
You want that. That's what's gonna make me famous. But doing stuff like this ain't gonna get you nothing.
They would get out there and record a fight or whatever. Yo, world star.
That's absolutely right.
Attention and everything.
That's absolutely right. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Here's the other thing, and I know that you can't say it, but I will. Folks, things like we used to put our money into a whole lot of nonsense. And I'll say this wholeheartedly. We will make investments in nonsense. We'll make investments in clubs that don't even really want us in their doors. Real life. We will go and spend hundreds of dollars in clubs that don't even really want us in their doors. You don't believe me? How long did we support Liquid for them to change their name? Because they didn't really want us to come in there anymore. I hate to be the person to speak on it, but I'll speak on it. But we won't get behind brothers that are actually coming out here doing things that are trying to keep kids off the streets. We won't actually write a check when we can go out and spend $60 in a night on drinks and having a good time. But we won't, I respect what he's saying, like, oh, it's not always about money. But it is about money, too. It takes money to run these things. It takes money to put things together. Bouncy castles don't just show up out of nothing. Food don't show up out of nowhere.
Free food, free bouncy house.
He ain't asking for none of that. He ain't asking for none of that. He's asking for you to show up and show some support and show some love. I'm telling you, you need to also bring your checkbook too. Because if you're going to be willing to support it vocally, if you're going to be willing to have support it with your likes and your shares, and you're getting the word out, then at least partially show up and write a check or two to be able to get behind and find brothers like this that are trying to do positive things in the community and say, what can I do to help out? How can I be a part of the solution? Or do I want to just sit on the sidelines and be like, yeah, it's really bad what's happening in Wellington Heights. It's a tragedy that these kids keep on shooting up everything, and it's only April. Because we can keep talking about it, or we can do something. And hey, maybe you're a person like me that says, you know what? My time is limited as it is, so I have a hard time getting out. But I sure could write a check. I sure can say, okay, well, hey, how can I help? What can I do? Where do you need me? You want somebody to coach a team? I can block aside a couple hours a week to do that. You want somebody to get behind you guys and support it and volunteer my time, my efforts, and my skills? Yeah, I can do that. So it's really about what we're willing to do and who we're really, it's the fiber and the character that we're really willing to show. And we've got brothers that are standing up and making a charge and making a change, and it's going to take all of us to really get behind them and make that push towards them, for them to not give up. Because what happens for a lot of cats, you can speak on this and tell me if I'm wrong. What happens for a lot of cats is it feels like you're pushing against the grain. It feels like you're pushing up a boulder up a hill, and you can't get people to get behind you or support you or to ride with you or to be with you or to show up.
I'll even add on to that, because that's 100% facts. I even add on to that with even businesses, especially like even black businesses.
That's right.
They look at it, some even look at it as a competition or anything
right.
like that. But my goal and my mission is we need to come together. Like, let's do it together. Whatever it is, if it's supporting the kids and the needs of the youth and the needs of the people itself in the community, we definitely need to come together.
That's right.
And do it together. I don't need no name on it or anything. I just want to be a part of the movement.
That's absolutely right, man. And that humility is great. I can appreciate it. It's not false humility, people. That's real. That is coming through from a real life place, saying we just want to looking around the community and seeing things that you don't like, and actually saying, look, let me be a part of the change. Let me be a part of that wave that changes everything. And then we see kids that are actually going on and graduating high school, going on to getting a career, whatever it might be. Maybe college ain't for every kid, and I'm not the first person to push that on everybody. But if we can teach these kids, look, you go find yourself a trade, so we can have some black electricians, some black carpenters, some black doctors, some black lawyers. Whatever the path is, we can help push them towards that. What was that? You know I can't hear you with
trucking industry.
Yes, some truckers. Man, when I listen, you know what a Casey's fuel driver makes? $70,000 to $80,000 a year. I just learned that today.
You know something else that I'm working on, which I think would definitely be huge, is a dream challenge. A dream challenge. So even with that, it's like I challenge my friends. I got, I don't know, maybe over 3,000 friends on Facebook. But even making a challenge for them, especially donate $1 a week. That's over $3,000 a week to go support the youth, to go give them something to do. And then even share that.
That's $51 a year for you. But if everybody were to do that,
and it's a week.
That's a week.
It's like every day, and then
That's a
$1
week.
out the week.
That's a week. That's what's up. No, that's real life.
So that's something that I'm about to announce or something coming up, and I definitely don't want people taking the negative way of it, thinking, oh, he just keep asking for money or anything. No, I want to provide stuff like this for the kids to do. The kids
That's
to
what's up.
Smile.
No, look. Somebody, listen. If you're not going to be the person that does it, somebody needs to be the person to help stand up and support it. Because we all look around our community and see the problems. It's easy to point out and look at what they're doing. And realistically, look, what's really crazy is there's a lot of us, cats that grew up in this neighborhood, cats that are from around here, that won't even come back to the neighborhood that we come from because it doesn't look like us, but it doesn't represent what it was when we even came through this area. You know what I mean? We were all over there at Johnson playing ball. We all used to walk these streets, and it was a different time back in those days. And yet, we come up, we grow up, we maybe move out and go to other places, and we won't even come back and support our community.
That's why exactly I wanted it here. It's because I've been realizing that with myself. And I know you can get caught up with everything that's going on, but even with myself, I'm like, if the stuff and the problems happening over here, what can we do to help them out? Because
That's right.
it's a city's effort. It's not
That's
just,
absolutely.
this area, this
Absolutely.
neighborhood. It takes a city's effort to come and
That's
support
absolutely.
your own people.
We got to come and support our own people. Because if nothing else, let's just make it real. As you have a whole bunch of people that don't know what this place was and what this place, a lot of people that didn't grow up here won't know. Hey, look, we used to run these streets. We used to ride our bikes up and down these streets. We used to kick it. The reason why there's so, like I said, told somebody, I was actually, when I had the joy of hosting out of Victoria's Life, they had the celebrating local Black heroes back in February. And I had the pleasure of hosting that, and I was sharing. Slayton Thompson was one of the honorees, and I had a chance to talk to him, and I was like, one of the craziest things is that a lot of us, we came up playing in drum corps. A lot of us came up hanging out at Johnson and playing, and that's how a lot of people, even though I didn't go to Washington, I know a lot of the cats from around here, because it's like, because of those places, even though I went to Kennedy, I still knew the Black people. So when I go into places now, and I see, hey, oh no, man, I know these folks. These are my people. Yeah. Like they own Cedar Rapids. They don't nonsense. They just here kicking it to have a good time. I know you didn't grow up. Brandon didn't grow up. Yeah, so that's why I looked at him like he's skeptical. Oh, you from Demo? Oh, you want to do? Okay. He had to get validation by 3 more Black folks before I trusted him.
It's just more so, I need to, I'm more to, I didn't think it was like,
Yeah.
it was one of those things.
Share that mic with this brother, because we can't hear him. Put that mic in the middle so we can. No, just put that middle. It's that middle one. Put that in the middle. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Much better. Re-speak your speech.
So, what I'm saying is, when I moved here, I didn't think there was a lot of Black people here.
Right.
Hanging out and, being around, doing, odd jobs, and just coming in contact with some folk, kind of introduce me to people. Introduced me to a lot of things. Semi-pro football was one of them.
Absolutely.
That time I met Brandon Jackson, and from that day, me and him playing on the same team, we grinded together, man. We was on the football field, practice, injured, whatever it was, we were out there playing.
That's right.
And it built the brotherhood between me and him. And it's almost what you were talking about, that brotherhood with, the community that you were raised in.
Right.
I found that with just football.
That's right.
And I believe that's not only, that what you doing that's what he's trying to do with the community as far
That's absolutely right.
for the youth, which is a great thing. And a lot of these Black fathers need to be more involved in, their kids' lives.
That's right.
Things like that.
But you want to know a funny thing? Even speaking on that, right? And y'all put that in the middle so y'all can both share that.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know. I don't know what's up.
I can. That one is running into your board. That's what it is. So that's why you can hear it.
That's why I can hear it.
That's why, and I have this one over here. That's why you can hear me no matter what. So that's why I'm saying, jack that up right there so you can do over both, and then put it right underneath and y'all can split that. That's all you got to do. I ain't gonna always be here to.
Hey man, you know what? I forgot that you had 2.
I got 2 mics. That's why you can hear me.
We're growing.
Right. It's a process. We're growing.
I ain't got to do this when I'm in the house.
But this collabo with both of you guys in the podcast,
That's right.
Just collaborating, just drawing more fans and people in.
That's right.
Definitely, supporting it, definitely got to share it. And everything you guys do, I love and build it. Just keep doing it.
That's what's up. That's right. And that's one of the things, man, that, even speaking to what you're saying, what you're doing right now, man, because there's one thing that I think has bonded, it maybe it's just a man thing, but the one thing that bonds us is sports like nothing else. Because that's it. We battled together. We won together. We lost together. We lived and died on that field together. And, I ain't never been to war, but I can tell you this, man. I know that riding the same emotions with your brothers will do that to you.
That's why you can appreciate people, even if your kids is not involved in sports or anything, you should look into even doing that with them because they build friendships and relationships that will last a lifetime.
That's absolutely right.
And not only on that, but just getting the kids involved with being active and stuff is healthy. It gets, it's going to clear down a lot of walls.
That's absolutely.
Like, my mom wall, especially when we're dealing with in the nation, is like a racism.
That's absolutely right.
And I honestly believe, I mean, you have different beliefs, but I believe racism is taught. And it's something that when they grow up, they learn, the older people are how they feel pretty great.
That's right.
Grow up feeling that same a certain way.
That's right.
And two opposite people putting on the same team that get to know each other even more. They
That's
respect
right.
each other even more. And
That's
that's
absolutely
where
right.
we really even help solve some of these issues.
That's absolutely right. That's the realest thing that, another thing that's going to do for the community as it relates to what using sports as an avenue, is that for the single mother, there's a mixed thing that happens a lot in our community of whether or not we need the positive role models and all of that stuff, or can we find positive role models, or whatever the case may be. And you're going to have a lot of, when we have organizations like what you're building that are bringing together men that look like the children that they're coaching, you are giving that child a role model saying, listen, when I grow up, it's not an option to not be involved in my kid and other kids' lives, because I had men that were in my life that showed me that that's what real men do. Because the absence of that positive role model, you are going to seek a role model no matter what. It's either going to be the dope boy, or it's going to be cats that ain't really about the family life. They're about everything and anything else. And once we start imposing that in our young boys, then we have lost another generation. And that's what's real. We are at a critical point in time where you are having entire generations that have no idea, that are 2 or 3 generations away from a positive male role model. I mean, real life. Granddaddy wasn't there. Now daddy ain't there. So I ain't really seen a man go to work every day and do it. I ain't never seen a man show up and wake up every day and take me to school.
But what's so crazy, even what you're talking about, what's so crazy is that I feel like, honestly, it's our generation that dropped the ball.
That's right.
Because the people ahead of us, they taught us how to be who we are, and we grew up fine. We grew up fine, but our generation we're responsible to teach the ones that's younger that's doing all this stuff to be there for them.
That's
and
right.
We haven't provided for them like we was provided for them.
That's absolutely right. Well, that was one thing. Even if you had, my father was alive until I was 11 and passed away, right? But I had a strong mama. And at the same time, I also had a whole lot of other male role models that were like, oh, no. No. Your dad wouldn't let that be.
You know the crazy thing about when you say you got a strong mom, if they're a black mom, I think it's in your DNA to be strong. Point blank, period, man.
That's absolutely facts.
I believe that you're.
I'm gonna say something controversial.
Hey, go ahead.
I'll say something controversial. So the thing about it is, as we've gotten farther and farther away from our moral character, we have a lot of moms that don't know how to be moms. We have a lot of mothers who are much more involved, but would much rather be out in the club partying than ever being at home with their kid. So you got kids getting dropped off at grandma's house and don't come home until Sunday morning. So you got a mama that stays in the streets, and then again at the same time you got a mama that would be much more upset with you for saying something to her child than she is for her child for breaking my window. You know what I mean? We have gotten away from the community element. That was probably when Chuck was here. We were talking about the idea of it takes a community to raise a man, right? And Tracy said the same thing. If it takes a community to raise a man, the problem is we've got mothers and we've got parents who are so much further away from, you can't say, would much rather cuss me out for saying something to her child who was wrong than they are about coming down on that child. Because when I was coming up, when I say I had a strong mama, I got my tail beat over somebody else's house for acting a fool. And I come home and get my tail beat for her having to beat my tail. Like, just real life.
I believe that's the effects of being the 80s baby.
Right.
Because, if you were the 80s baby, you know that struggle. But now it's completely different. You look at somebody's kid wrong, it's just like, I don't know, man.
even to add on to that, I'm going to go ahead and give another quick shout out to the program, Dream Sports. We're on all social media. Our website is www.futureyouthsports.com. Definitely check us out.
Do that. Give it to us one more time, a little bit clearer.
It's www.futuresports.com.
www.futuresports.com.
And then also, we're on all social media, Dream Sports, that's with 2E. But we see what you guys are talking about, where the parents need to be more active and more involved. And that's why even with our program, we're offering it, like I said, the kids that can't afford. And one of the steps that we do is we understand how much of an impact and a role model that some of these coaches are. But the thing is, I don't want us to be the role models or anything like that. So we got a little system where some real models, and that's the parents. The parents need to be the ones who they're looking up to. And
That's absolutely right.
So for our program, we definitely want the parents to at least volunteer at some point, because you need to be aware of what's going on in your
That's
life.
absolutely real.
And we think even with the sports avenue, that's going to build your relationship stronger with your kids.
That's absolutely real.
And your kids is going to, because sometimes kids feel like, oh, my parents don't know what they're talking about or anything when it comes to sports. Now we're getting the parents involved so you guys can have a whole conversation about the sports that can lead to other things. Your kids can be more open up with you about everything that's going on in their life, because you guys are building that relationship and making it stronger.
Right. That's what's up, man. That's real models. I like that. Real models. That's dope. I can get behind that wholeheartedly, man. I can definitely get behind that.
Yeah, because I've grown up, and I've been coaching sports for almost like 20 years now, and I know how much of an impact that I made in kids' lives. I even had some kids come up to me, even parents come up to me like, can you tell my kid this? Can you tell my kid that?
Right.
Because my kids would rather listen to you than to actually listen to anything I'm saying.
And it should never be that way.
Never.
It should never be that way.
That's what, like, man, you guys got to get that power back.
That's
and,
right.
And build that relationship.
But it's one of those things where, again, there's going to be a lot of narratives, and like I said, there's a lot that's changed in parenting. There's a lot that's changed in parenting. This idea or this push is real, that parents are more friends with their kids than they are anything else, and that's a real thing.
They're fine. They're supposed to stop by and
What's up?
I'm about to call him over because I already know. I'm pretty sure. I'm probably looking for who's in charge.
Oh, okay. All right. So
let's just give them what's their perspective on the stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get them on camera too.
And hey, like you're gonna see, you probably will see some stuff. They might shy away from it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it shows character though too.
That's what's up. That's what's up for real though. But listen, man, that's what you guys are doing is impactful. It's big on the community, and we need to continue to push these things out so that everybody recognizes and understands and can appreciate that. Because if we want to be the salvation that our community needs, we've got to make that difference. We've got to be the people that step up and take that charge on. And big ups to what you're doing. What it is, Dream
Sports.
Dream Sports.
Go like the page.
Go like the Facebook page, share it.
It's futuresports.com, right?
Futuresports.com.
FutureYouthSports.com.
FutureYouthSports.com.
Because you said it earlier, just Future Sports.
My bad. FutureYouthSports.com. That was my fault.
Ladies and gentlemen, CRPD.
Cedar Rapids PD is in the
How you doing,
house.
sir?
I'll be back quick.
How's everything? No problem. How's everything? Good.
So as we have communication with the police department, I'd like to take this time to give a shout out to Purified Water, because I'm drinking it and we enjoying it. And we having fun on this tonight. But yeah, we're still gonna be out here until 7 o'clock. What time is it? We 5:15 right now. So we enjoying this lovely. If nothing else, man, come out and enjoy this weather. What we got going on here? What else is going on in the world today?
No, it's just.
Anything is possible. But a soft taco can be filled with decadent nachos, loaded with seasoned beef, warm nacho cheese sauce, and golden cheese chips. All for the original price of $1. Now, your ears aren't playing taco tricks. It's the new $1 loaded nacho taco, only on Taco Bell's Christmas value move. Now you can down the menu.
Our company is proud to present a new line of shampoos and oil lines. Make your brand, the Barber brand. Astonishingly superior formulas, including Wolverine and Frog. Designed by trainers and comprehensive standards. This is approved by an advisory board of expert barbers. And to make your shampoo experience even better, Frog Barber Grade Shampoo features a sealed fresh flowing scent that evolves as you like. So go and shower today with Primo Barber Grade Shampoo. Forget to not find it.